Welcome back. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sabrina. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for episode 22 of Building Better Relationships in Construction, based on Paul Schwinghammer's book. Today's title is The Job is Not About You. We're pulling this one from chapter 22, Gift Wrapping Difficult Situations. It's a good one because, let's be honest, construction is full of surprises.
So true, and Paul's point here, right off the bat, is that how you deliver bad news matters as much as the facts. It's not about hiding things, but about framing them so clients still feel taken care of. It's kind of like the difference between dumping a box of problems on someone and handing them a wrapped package that says, "Here's what we'll do next." Big difference.
Exactly. And Paul uses a concrete example that many people in our industry will recognize. 2 showers with seats that were installed per the contract, and now the client wants them replaced with different units. To the client, it sounds simple, but the real cost can be huge. Paul mentions figures like $7,500 once you add tear out, new fixtures, labor, permits, the whole cascade.
Yeah, hearing a number like that out of the blue can blow up trust fast. If you just say it'll cost $7,500, clients can feel blindsided, defensive, or frustrated. Paul's recommendation is something softer, but still honest. He calls it gift wrapping the news.
Right. And by gift wrapping, he doesn't mean sugarcoating or glossing over reality. He means crafting the message so the client understands the truth, but also understands you're working for them. So instead of, "It'll cost $7,500, you say something like, "This change will involve a significant cost due to tear out and new fixtures, which we're actively working to minimize." For example, I'm exploring options to reuse or repurpose some of the existing showers or fixtures to help lower the overall expense.
That line does 3 things, and Paul lays them out clearly. 1, it sets honest expectations, but it does so with a solution-oriented tone. 2, it demonstrates your dedication to the client's best interests. And 3, it reinforces trust because you're transparent about the problem and your efforts.
Those 3 objectives are the heart of the approach. I want to pause on the solution-oriented tone. Saying that you're exploring options changes the conversation. The client isn't left with a single immovable bill. They see you as actively managing the downside.
And that matters because projects rarely go perfectly. Hidden conditions, deliveries, design changes, all of it. Paul recommends using this technique for unexpected repairs, delays, cost overruns, material availability problems, even personal issues that affect schedules.
Let's walk through how that plays out in a real conversation. A client shows up and says, "We want different showers." You could react in 2 ways. Way 1, "Okay, that's $7,500. Way 2, Paul style, "I hear you. I want those to be exactly what you want. There will be costs because of tear out and replacements, which could be in the $7,500 range. But let me look at options. We might be able to reuse parts or source comparable units that reduce the expense. I'll keep you updated every step of the way." Which one would you rather be on the receiving end of?
Way 2, every time. It doesn't erase the cost, and you're not promising miracles, but it shifts the client's emotional state. They go from feeling punished to feeling partnered with. Paul actually calls this giving a gift, not of the product, but of reassurance and partnership.
There's also an element of timing and ownership here. Paul suggests you don't let bad news fester. Deliver it timely, but wrapped, and take ownership of investigating solutions, even if the final cost still falls on the client. That ownership signals care and competence.
Another point Paul makes, and we should highlight, is the balance between transparency and gentleness. Be clear about the reality, the cost drivers, the trade-offs, but lead with empathy. Something like, "I know this isn't what you hoped for. I'm committed to finding ways to reduce the impact." One line shows you understand their feelings, the other shows you're taking action.
And the language matters. Avoid absolutes and surprise tactics. Don't say, "There's nothing we can do." Don't pass blame. Instead say, "Here's what we know, here are options, here's the likely timeline to determine a final number." That approach reduces anxiety and makes the client part of the problem-solving process.
One thing I appreciated in Paul's writing is the long-term lens. When you consistently gift-wrap difficult news, when you habitually show up like that, you're building a reputation. Clients remember how they were treated when things went sideways more than how things went when everything was smooth.
So true. The deposits you make into the relationship during crises are often larger than many smaller positive interactions. When you handle a setback with integrity and empathy, clients become advocates. They tell others, even when stuff went wrong, they treated us right. That's priceless in our business.
Let's give a quick playbook. Practical steps people can use right after they realize bad news is coming.
Yes, let's. Step 1. Don't delay. Tell the client as soon as you understand the situation.
Step 2. Prepare what you'll say. Facts first, then context. Be concise.
Step 3. Frame it with solutions. We're exploring options to mitigate cost. Here are 2 or 3 paths we can take.
Step 4. Take ownership of the next steps. I'll research and get you an update by Friday, and actually follow through.
Step 5. Invite collaboration. Ask the client what their priorities are: schedule, budget, aesthetics, so you can align solutions to what matters most to them.
Those steps line up with Paul's guidance: honest, gentle, proactive, and partnered.
There's an art to this too: tone of voice, pauses, and choice of words. Paul says storytelling and empathy are at the core. Share brief context. Don't lecture. We ran into an unforeseen framing issue. Here are the implications. Then immediately move to your actions.
And sometimes the client will cut you off or get upset. That's okay. Paul recommends staying steady. Let them vent a bit, acknowledge the frustration. I understand why you'd be upset, then steer back to solutions. You can interrupt politely. I hear you. And here's what we can do next.
A small but useful tactic is to name the emotion. I can see this is frustrating. It validates them, and it cools the situation down faster than arguing facts alone.
Let's also talk about the other extreme, hiding the news. Paul is pretty clear. Withholding or delaying transparency corrodes trust faster than any single cost overrun. Once the client discovers you knew and didn't tell them, that relationship damage is hard to repair.
Yep, so the rule is, be timely with clarity and thoughtful with words. Gift wrap the news, don't wrap it in cellophane and hide it under the couch.
Nice visual. Another practical consideration: document the conversation. After you talk, send a concise follow-up email summarizing the issue, the options you discussed, and the next steps. That keeps everyone aligned and shows professionalism.
Paul emphasizes that these behaviors create a buffer of trust. When you build that buffer by handling issues well, future problems get less reactive pushback. People are more willing to accept trade-offs because they've seen you act in their interest before.
Before we wrap up, one last reminder from Paul: the job is not about you. It's about serving the client, protecting their investment, and being a calm, capable guide through the messy parts of building. When you make it about the client, even bad news becomes an opportunity.
Absolutely. That mindset change alone, from I don't want to tell them this to how can I best serve them with this news, shifts the whole dynamic.
Okay, quick recap. Gift wrap difficult news by being honest, empathetic, solution-focused, and timely. Take ownership. Invite collaboration. Follow up in writing. Build the trust buffer that helps relationships survive the inevitable bumps.
And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about how you respond when things aren't perfect. That's what sets you apart.
One final note from us. Remember, you can purchase your copy of the groundbreaking book, Building Better Relationships, a guide to enhancing the customer experience for home builders, remodelers, and construction managers by author Paul Schwinghammer, on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in multiple formats.
Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone in the industry who could use a better playbook for handling tough conversations.
We'll be back with episode 23, The Power of Surprises in Building Relationships. Until then, be honest, be kind, and remember to gift wrap the tough stuff with care.
Bye for now.